3, 2, and 1.
Every time. Hey, everybody, it's Rob Ridley and Jeremy Donch.
Hello.
Hey.
We're here at National Fire Radio. We're on the on location at the Fairview Fire District in Poughkeepsie, New York, with our special guest today, senior firefighter Craig Elderkin. Craig, say hello to everybody.
Hey, what's up?
So this is going to be a pretty interesting podcast for us as we talk about the first time and go through some stuff with Craig, because I actually had the honor of working with Craig. He was my senior guy. So when you listen to some of the podcasts that we've done previously, and I talk about my senior man leaving, this is the son of a bitch who left me. So, but he's on the greener pastures, and he's enjoying retirement, telling me how much I'm going to love it. So with that being said, let's jump in there.
Absolutely. Craig, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us at the firehouse here. I know I mentioned to you before, how's retirement, and I think you said it's good.
It's good, man. Fitbit says I'm sleeping a whole lot better.
I
a
love
lot
it.
better.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. A couple things we wanted to talk about, remembering you first, and that's the episode that we do on our podcast where we talk about your first fire, and maybe that's the fire that got the hook, or that's the most memorable fire. A lot of times, though, throughout your career, you tend to have more memorable fires. So let's hop right into it, and we'll start talking about your first fire.
Wow. Let's see. I got into service in December of '77, and of course, let me go back to my first call.
Yeah.
I grew up next to the firehouse up in Roosevelt, so they give me my gear: size 44 coat, size 12 boots, and a helmet. Well, I wear size 7 boots and a 36 coat, and
That's about right.
the helmet pretty much the ears, thank God, kept it up so I
Perfect.
could at least see. And back in the day, we jumped on a 55 Ford front mount. And so we're going to a call on St. Andrews Road for an auto accident, and the captain tells me, hey, go get the CO2 extinguisher out of the bracket, the back of the engine. So I walked to the back of the truck, and I look, and I see, I knew it was a CO2, and I went to pull it out, and couldn't get it out. I went to pull it out, couldn't get it out. So after about 3 or 4 minutes of just staring at it and looking around the truck to see if they missed me, one of the guys came back and said, what are you doing? I said, I need to get the extinguisher. He goes, well, get it. And I go, how do you get it out of the bracket?
Yeah.
And he goes, you flick this. And I'm like, oh, I got that. And so that was the first call. The first fire I went to was in February 7th of '78 during the blizzard.
Jesus.
And we were riding it's probably about 2 in the morning. We're riding the back step of a '69 Ford with 4 guys on the back. And the only thing that kept the rig on the road was the snowbanks.
No kidding.
And as we rounded a corner, we kind of looked around, and the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department was driving Novas back then. And he was kind of like going up the hill sideways. Well, that engine made the corner, and next thing I know, we seen the sheriff's car off into the snowbank. And we pull up, and we had a 2-story A-frame heavy fire showing out of the B-side. And they said, take a line in. Well, when we got out, once you got off the driveway, the snow was probably about 3.5, almost 4 feet deep.
Yikes.
So we're trying to pass the line over
Right.
because we just couldn't advance the line.
Sure.
And, back in the day, it was 1.5 inches. We didn't pull 2.5 for nothing. And as they tell you, we got one window, one line.
Right.
2 windows, one line. 3 windows, need a big line. Well, we didn't.
I like that.
We weren't pulling the big line, and we could barely get the single line in operation.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And we get into the kitchen, and we couldn't get through the door the way the refrigerator was. So this firefighter, Dave Lau, nicknamed Angus, went over and literally bear hugged a full refrigerator and moved it so we could get into the back of the house. Knocked it down, and then you got to pick all that stuff up in the middle of the blizzard, and then take it back to the station and thaw yourself out. Because again, back in the day, gear was designed to keep you dry,
Yeah.
not
warm.
Not warm.
Yeah.
So, but again, there's a lot of changes in the fire service.
Yeah.
Tradition's usually not one of them. That's the hindrance part. But
I love every time you talk about like history. It's even like the cliche saying, my parents walked to school back and forth uphill, and waist deep snow, and of course your first fire, 1978. I was born in '77.
Yeah.
So for an appreciation of that, I mean it's quite a long ways to go.
One of my things is to understand where you are. You had to understand how they got here before you.
Agreed, hands down.
Because one of the things with today's generation is there's a different mindset. When they come in and they question everything. Why do you do that? Well, why do we do it this way? Why do we do it that way? And, sometimes as the senior guys or older guys, we go, the kid might be right there. We don't know why we did it that way because somebody did it that way before us. And it's maybe not the right way, the wrong way, the Fairview way, the state way, or whatever way, but it worked. Well, now you got somebody that's questioning it, and then you go back and you have to reevaluate what you're doing. Buildings have changed, apparatus have changed, tactics have changed, turnout gears changed.
Sure.
Everything's changed.
Yep.
Back in the day, we had no radios. We used to carry golf balls and rocks in our pockets to,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wait, hold.
Yeah.
I've never heard this
You wanted to
before.
vent a second floor window, you took a golf ball out and you would throw golf
Right.
balls out the window on
Right.
the way in. We used to have a lot of old Victorian type homes, and they used to tell you, get on the floor, throw some marbles, see which way the floor pitches, because that's which way the water's gonna go. So now you're adding your 8 pounds per gallon of water on
Sure.
the floor. You wanna know where it's gonna go. So you wanna see if the building is shifting, you throw a marble on the floor and see where it goes.
All right, so Rob was.
But you gotta understand, back in the 70s, we had some serious shag carpet going on, so the marbles didn't go
Bow,
too far,
chicka,
man.
wow, wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's wild. I mean, and you just touched on so many things in a matter of 30 seconds, Craig, that we could talk for hours and hours on every little thing that you just said. One, golf balls and marbles, amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I have never heard that before. I think that's, I'm going to save that one day.
Hey everybody, it's Robert with National Fire Radio. Thanks for tuning in. Catch up with us on social media. We got
SoundCloud, National Fire Radio, YouTube, National Fire Radio, Instagram, National Fire Radio, and
always
Facebook, National Fire Radio. Guys, check us out. Take care. Be safe.